Chapter 3, Practice 3.1, Part A. Solve. You may use a calculator for questions 9 through 16. In order to solve for problem 1 through 8, or 1 through 16, we have to use the formula that we used on Practice 2 earlier. So let's look at the formula. So for the formula, I will work on the top here. So for the formula, we have to remember that we use this formula. So the 100%, it goes in this location. And the top of the 100%, that's the rate, which is also in percent. And to the left of the rate, we have the part element here. And to the bottom of the part, we have the base element. So the base is usually go with the 100%. Because the base is the whole. So when the whole thing is, it is 100%. Okay, so we will use this formula for the rest of the practice here. Number 1, before we do use this, or before we solve for it, we have to know what are the elements that's given. So let's define number 1 through number 8 first. What is 20% of $25? So what is what is 20% of $25? So 20% is the rate. So R and of $25. Remember, the number comes after the word of is the base. So base is the $25. And number 2, R, is the 90%. The B is also the 200 here. For number 3, R is the 35%. And the B, or the base, is 400. Okay. For number 4, what percent? See, we don't know. R is the missing. So is 19. 19 is next to the word is. So that is the part out of after the word of 20 is the base. Okay. I need to identify these before I solve for the problems for each question, so that way it will make life easier. 42 is, you see, is, that's going to be the part. What percent? I don't know. I don't know what percent. I don't know the rate. Of 168. You see, after the word of, that's the base, which is the B. Number 6, what percent? I don't know the rate. That's the rate. Is $18. That's the part. And out of 600. So after the word of, that's the base. Going to number 7, find 33 1/3%. Okay, it's given to you as the rate right here of 51. So that's going to be the base. The missing is the P, which is the part is missing. Number 8, what is 125%? That's the rate of $48. So $48 is the base. And in this case, you need to look for the P. And we know that P is going to be greater than $48. P is going to be greater than $48. Why? Because if you look at the rate is more than 100%. So P is going to be more than $48, just so you know that. If the rate is under 100%, then the part is going to be less than $48 in this case. Now let's move on to number 9. 240 is, that's going to be the part. What percent? You see, they don't know the rate. And they do know the base of 120. So that's the base. Number 10, what percent is 3 out of 60? So 3 is going to be the part, 60 is the base. So we don't know what percent, we don't know what rate. Number 11, $52 is, that is the part. What percent? See, we don't know the rate of 600, that is the base. Find 8.5%. 8.5% is the rate of $46. That's going to be the base. 13. 65 cents is, that's going to be the part. What percent? You see, what percent? We don't know the rate of $10. So that is the base. It comes after the word of. Number 14, 28%. That's the rate of 1,300. That's the base. So we're looking for the part. And you may put a question mark here. For number 15, what percent? Okay, you see, you don't know the rate. The rate is not provided. Is 2.5. 2.5 is the part out of 4. That's the base. Base is 4, part is 2.5, and we don't know the rate. So that's what we're looking for. Number 16, find 66 2/3% of 108. So 66 2/3%, that is the rate. And of 108, that is the base. And again, we don't know the part. So that's what we're looking for, the part. Now that we identified the elements, let's solve for the unknown element. Let's look at number 1 on the far right here. So let's put the big plus. That's your formula. So number 1, R is 20%. So put 20% here. The 100% is automatically down here. That's a fixed location. It can't be changed. And the $25, which is the base, that goes on the bottom next to the 100%, and we don't know the part. So to solve for the part, we have to multiply. We multiply the 20% times the 25. So let's do that here. 20 multiplied by 25. You get what? Okay, let's do the problem here. 20 times 2, 0. Notice I put my 0 out. 0 I drop down. 2 times 5 is 10. Write only 0, carry 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So we have 500. And that's step 1. Now look at step 2. Step 2, we divide the 500 by the 100. So cancel this 0 with that 0, this 0 with that 0. So 5 divided by 1 is 5. The part equals $5. Since it's money, you can have 2 zeros and a dot here. For number 2, find 90% of 200. So what's not given is also P. P is not given. So we are going to use the same formula here for number 2 and the rest of it. So let's look at number 2. Let's put a big plus. So 90% goes on the top right, and 200 goes bottom left, and the 100%, which is the fixed number, that stays on the bottom right, and the P is what we don't know. So we are going to put a color P right here. Now, in order to solve for P, we need to multiply 90 by the 200. That's step 1. So 90 multiplied by 200. That's going to give us 18,000. And for step 2, we are going to divide 18,000 by 100. So now let's cancel out this 0 with that 0, this 0 with that 0, and what we have left is 180. So that is going to be our answer. Put 180 where the P is. Now let's look at number 3. 3, P is also not given. So P is going to equal something. And we will work number 3 on the right side here also. So that's a big plus. And 100 goes here. 35% on top of 100. The 400 goes here. And the P is the one that needs to find. Okay, in order to find P, remember we multiply diagonally the 2 that's given. So we have 35 multiply by 400. So the way I do is, okay, remember this is step 1. Step 1. Okay, for step 1, I will put 35 here and multiply 400. Notice I take out the 2 zeros. So I have 0, 0. 4 times 5 is 20. Write only 0. Carry the 2. 4 times 3 is 12. And that's going to be 14. Now we need to divide 14,000 by 100, which is step 2. Okay, put 100 underneath. Cancel the 0, 0, 0, 0. So what I have is 140. That is the answer for number 3. 140. For number 4, we still use the same formula. But for number 4, the missing part is the percent or the rate. However, if we apply the formula, we still can find the percent. So let's put the number here. The rate, we don't know. That's the percent. So we keep it as R. 19 is the part. 20, okay, 20 is the base. So to find the R, we need to multiply the 19 times 100 and then divide by 20. So let's look at 19 times 100. That is going to be 1900. Now 1900 divided by 20. We may go ahead and cancel the 0 on the bottom and 1 0 on the top. So what is left is we have 2 that goes into 190. Okay, 2 goes into 19 is 9 times, which is 18. Subtract, I have 1 left. Bring down the 0. 2 goes into 10. That's 5 times. And 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract out, I have 95. So what is 95 represent? That's the rate. So it has to be in percent. Okay. Write that answer next to here. So rate equals 95%. You must have the percent symbol. If not, it's still not correct. For number 5, the percent is still missing. So we still do the same thing. Write number 5 here and a big plus. So the 100 goes here. The R is missing, so we don't know what the value is. That's what we're looking for. The 168 goes on the bottom, and the 42 goes on the top. We are going to multiply the 2 that's given diagonally. So 42, step 1 is 42 times 100. That's going to give you 4,200. Okay, step 2, divide 4,200 by 168. Okay, now let's do that here. The 4,200 is written first, so it goes in the box. So put 4,200 here. Put 168 on the outside. Okay, when we divide with a large number, we have to use everything here on the outside here. So how many 168 are there in 420? Can it be 2 times? Okay, or 3 times? Why don't we try 2 times first? Okay, so 2, put 2 above the 0 here. 2 times 8 is 16, right? 6 carry 1. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Carry another 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Let's see if this will work. So 6 from 0, that means we borrow 1 from the 2, make that a 1, and the 0 here can be a 10. So 10 subtract 6 is 4. 1 can't subtract 3. We borrow 1 from the 4, make that a 3. So the 1 can become 11. So 11 take away 3 is 8. Okay, so the 4 is already taken out 1, so you have 3. Subtract 3 would be 0 here. So you have 84 remain, but bring down the last 0 over here. Now you have 840 divided by 168. So how many times would that be? To me, I look at the 8 here, I look at the 0 here, okay, and I know that 5 times 8 will end up with a 0 at the end. So I'm going to try 5 for now and see if that works. Okay, now 5 times 8 is 40, right? Only the 0. Carry the 4 on top of the 6. 5 times 6 is 30, plus the 4 is 34, right? The 4 carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. Bingo. So I have 25 that goes with the R here. That means that's 25%. I have to put 25%. Otherwise, it's not correct. So rate equals 25%. Number 6, let's work that 6 on the top right corner here again. Again, percent is not defined, so we need to find percent or the rate. The 100 is going to be here. The 18 is the part, so it goes on the top left. The $600, it goes on the bottom left, and we don't know the rate. So 18 is what percent of 600? Now what we need to do is we need to multiply 18 times 100. That is step 1. 18 times 100. We know that it's going to be 1800. Now step number 2. Divide 1800 by 600. Okay, now let's cancel out the zeros here with that 0 here, this 0 here with that 0 here. So I have 18 over 6. That means 18 divided by 6, that's 3 times. So 3 is the rate. That means it's 3%. And you may put R equals 3%. Number 7 is kind of special. You see, it's a hint to you that 33 1/3% is the same thing as the fraction 1/3. So if you changed or convert percent to a fraction, then you have to treat the 33 and percent as 1/3 of 51. It's no longer 33 and 1/3 percent of 51. So it's look like this: 1/3 of 51. That is the same. When you see of, that means multiply. So 1/3 multiplied by 51 over 1. Why is there a 1 underneath of 51? Because 51 is a whole number. So a whole number is understood to have a 1 right below. So now in this case, all we have to do is multiply across or do cross canceling. Well, you can do either way. For me, I'm just gonna go across for now. 1 times 51, you get 51. Over 3 times 1, you get 3. Then to finish the problem, I divide 3 into 51. Okay, 3 into 51. 3 into 5 is 1 time. So that's 3. Subtract, I have 2 left. Bring down the 1. 3 into 21, that's 7 times. So 7 times 3 is 21. Subtract, I have 0 left. So what is the 17 represent? 17 represent the part, because 1/3 of 51 is 17. So again, on the problem 7 at the end here, put P equals 17. And no, you are not going to put the percent symbol here, because you are not looking for the percent or the rate. The rate is given to you at 33 and 1/3, and it's converted to 1/3 in fraction. So the number 17 here is the part. For number 8, remember I told you earlier that the part is missing, but the part has to be greater than $48. So let's figure that problem out here. Number 8. Let's do a big plus. 100 goes here. Okay, the 125% goes on the top of the 100. Now, 48 is the bottom number, and P is the one that goes above 48. You notice when it's $48, it's 100%. When it's 125%, so the P has to be greater than $48, because when it's 100%, it's only 48. See that? And then when it's 125%, so P better be more than 48. So let's solve that out. In this case, we need to multiply 125 by 48, then divide by 100. So let's work that out here. 125 multiplied by 48. 8 times 5 is 40, right? Only 0, keep the 4. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 is 20, right? Only 0, keep the 2. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Now we're done with the 8. Go with the 4. 4 times 5 is 20, right? Only 0, carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Cancel the 2 here and carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 1 that you carry is 5. Add together, you have 0 0, 0, 6. Now this number is going to divide by 100. So 6,000 divided by 100. All you have to do is cancel this 0 with that, this 0 with that. Now you have 60 divided by 1, which is 60. Again, I told you that the value is going to be greater than 48. So it is true that P is $60. So I'll put $sign here and 60 here. For number 9 through number 16, you may use a calculator. So the rate is not given for number 9. Again, the setting is going to be the same. So number 9, okay, 100 goes here, of 120 goes here, number 240 goes here, and we don't know the percent, so the percent goes right there. So what we need to do now is to multiply step 1. We need to multiply 240 times 100. Okay. If you don't want to use a calculator, that's okay. But if you do, go ahead. 240 times 100. That means you will get 240 and 2 more zeros. That is step number 1. Step number 2, you need to divide the answer. The 24,000 here divided by 120. So I'm not going to use a calculator, but I'm gonna do some quick calculation in my head. So look at the 0 on the last 0 and the last 0 here. Those two are canceled out. So I have just 2, 4, 0, 0 on the top, and on the bottom I have 12. So my quickest way to do is look. If you think about the 24 and the 12, you see 24 divided by 12 is only 2. Then those 2 zeros divided by 12 is going to give you 2 zeros. So your answer is going to be 200%. So because we are looking for the rate is going to be 200%. Remember, you have to have the percent symbol. For number 10, let's do number 10 on the right here. What percent? So we don't know percent. We still need to put a big plus here. 100 goes here. What percent? We don't know percent. So we put we can put a percent symbol here to represent the rate. Is 3. So 3 out of 60. So put 60 next to the 100 because 60 is the base. Okay, to solve for this one, we need to multiply crisscross the 3 by the 100. So step 1, 3 times 100, that's 300. And then step number 2, 300 divided by 60. Cancel the 0, cancel the 0. So we have 30 over 6, which means 30 divided by 6 is 5. So that's 5%. Put R equals 5%. Number 11, another percent problem. So let's work on 11 here. 100 goes here. $52 is. So $52 is the part. What percent is we don't know. So we put the percent symbol here of 650. So 650 is the whole or the base. Now again, we need to multiply diagonally the 2 that's given. 52 times 100. Step 1. $52 multiplied by 100. So we have 5200. Anything times 100 is 100. So 5200, that's step 1. So step 2, 5200 divided by 650. Now we can cancel the 0 here, the 0 here, and we should divide 65 into 520. So ask ourselves, what or how many 65s are there in 520? Think about the 6 that goes into the 52. That's like 8 times. So we can try 8 for now. And if 8 works, that's good. 8 times 5, see, 8 times 5 is 40, right? Only 0 carry the 4. 6 times 8, or 8 times 6 is 48, plus the 4 that you carry is 52. Okay, this seems, it works perfectly. And you have nothing left. So that's like 8%. So R equals 8%. 12. And we need a big plus. So 100 goes here. The $46 goes here. 8.5 or 8.5. So instead of 8.5, I'm going to use 8.5 because they are similar. Now the part is the one that's missing. So we are going to multiply these two numbers. Okay. So 8.5 multiplied by 46. 6 times 5 is 30. Right? Only 0 carry 3. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 3 is 51. Okay, we're done with the 6. Now go for the 4. 4 times 5 is 20. Right? Only 0. Carry the 2. 4 times 8 is 32, plus 2 is 34. 0, 1, 9, 3. Okay, now let's put the decimal in place. You have only one decimal here. So we only move one decimal here. That's 391. Then step number 2, we need to divide this number 391 by 100. That is the same thing as if we move the point 1 and 2 places. So that's like 3.91. Okay, so what is that 3.91? That's $3.91. That's for the 8.5%. That looks like if you go shopping for something worth $46, and what's the tax of 8.5%? So in this case, P equals $3.91. Okay. Number 13. Okay, we need this times here, put 100 here. This time, number 13, rate is missing, so we can put the percent here and the $10 here. $10 is the base, and 65 cents, which is the part. Okay, so to solve for the rate, we need to multiply 0.65 by 100. So put 0.65 here, multiply by 100. So I'm going to do my way, and I'm moving the 2 zeros out because I don't need to multiply by those 2 zeros. I just need to drop down the 2 zeros. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 6 is 6. And then count my decimal place. My decimal place is 2 decimal places. So I'm going to move 2 decimal places. 1, 2. That means I have 65.00, or just 65. So step number 2, divide 65 by 10. If you divide by 10, that is the same thing as you only need to move 1 decimal here. So that's why we have 6.5%. So 65 cents, or 0.65 here, is 6.5% of the $10. Okay, so that's the answer. And what we need to do is we need to write R equals 6.5%. Okay, that's the answer for number 13. Number 14, so put 14. Okay, 100 goes here. Number 14 says find 28% of $1,300. So the rate and the base are givens, and you need to find the part, like I have it here. So let's erase this question mark here, and we can leave that for your answer. Now, the 28%, that is the rate, so that goes to the top right. You can put percent, or you don't have to put there. $1,300 goes here, and P goes here. So to solve for it, we need to multiply 28 by 1,300 and then divide by 100. First, let's do 28 multiplied by 1,300. Okay, so that will be 0, 0. 3 times 8 is 24. Carry 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, and then we have 0, 0, 4. 8 plus 8 is 16. Carry 1, so that's 3. Now, since we have no decimal place, we are not going to move any point. But remember, this number, 36,400, is going to divide by 100. Okay, and cancel the 0 here with this one, the 0 here with that one. So what's left is 364. That is the answer. So 364 is money. So we can put money symbol and 364 over here. You may put 0.00, that's fine, because it's dealing with money. Let's work out number 15 on the right hand side. Okay. What percent? Okay, we don't know percent. That means the rate. So we put a big percent symbol here. What percent is 2.5? So 2.5 goes on the top left corner out of 4. So 4 goes here. Okay. Now we need to look for the percent. So in this case, we are going to multiply 2.5 times 100. So let me tell you this. 2.5 times 100. That is the same thing as if you move the point here twice to the right and you get 250. Okay, see, if you move the one spot, it goes after the 5, and then another spot, that means you have an empty space. So with the empty space, meaning you have an extra 0. That's step 1. Step 2, divide the 250 by the 4. Okay, so that is, let's do that here. 250 divided by 4. So how many 4s in 25? What do you think? Would you say 6? Because 4 goes into 25 6 times. So 4 times 6 is 24. And subtract, you have 1 left. Bring down the 0. Now, how many 4s in 10? That's 2 times, because we have 8. Now, subtract, I have 2. Okay, here's an interesting part. You have a 2 left over. So in this case, you may stop here, or you may continue by adding 0. So let's add a 0, put the point, and bring the 0 down here. So now you have 20. Okay, 4 goes into 20. That's 5 times. So put 5 here, and 5 times 4 makes 20. So subtract 20 from 20, 0. So the answer for number 15, which is the rate. So the rate R equals 62.5%. Because it's rate, we have to have that percent symbol there. 16. So 2/3, that is 2/3 of 108. That is the same thing as 2/3 multiplied by 108. When there is a whole number, you can assume that there's a 1 underneath. Okay, you have a choice. You either multiply 2 times 108 and 3 times 1, or you can see if you can cancel the 3 and the 108. So in this case, I'm just going to multiply 2 times 108, which will give me 216. Put it on the top, and 3 times 1 is 3. So now all I have to do is divide that. 3 into 216. 3 into 21 is 7 times, which will give me 21. Subtract, 0 left. Bring down the 6. 3 into 6, that's 2 times. So 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, subtract, 0. So now I have 72 as my answer. The part for this answer is 72. Okay, so P equals 72, R equals 62.5%. P is equal to $364. R equals 6.5%. P equals $3.91. R equals 8%. R equals 5%. R equals 200%. Number 17. Pat called 120 customers to offer a software upgrade. Of those he called, 72 purchased the upgrade. What percent agreed to the purchase? So we have the 72 purchased the upgrade out of 120 customers. So those two numbers are as follow. 72 is the part, and the 120 is the base. What percent? We don't know the rate. And the 100 goes with the 120. And step 1. We multiply the 72 by the 100 right here. So 72 multiplied by 100. That should give us 7,200. And step number 2. For step number 2, we will have to divide the answer, which is the 7,200 here, divide that by 120. And how we do that is we are going to cancel out this 0 with that 0. And what's next is we are going to divide 12 into 720. Now ask ourselves, how many 12s are there in 72? Do you say 5? If it's 5, it will be 60. If it's 6, then it will be 72. So why don't we use 6? 6 times 2 is 12, carry 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So subtract, bring down the 0. 12 goes into 0 is 0. So that is 60. So what is that? We are looking for the rate. That means 60 is percent. And we will have to choose 60% right here. Number 18. Douglas received a 6% raise if his old monthly salary was $2,250. what is his monthly salary now? Okay. Hint, find the amount of the raise. Then add the raise to the previous monthly salary. Yes, this is a two-step process. So first, we need to find the 6% of the $22.50. Okay, 6% goes here, 100% goes here, 2,250 goes here. And we need to know the part because that's the raise. Okay, the 6% raise. So let's multiply the 6 times 2. Okay, multiply 2250 by 6. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 5 is 30. Put 0, carry the 3 in your head or on top here. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 3 is 15. Carry 1. 6 times 2 is 12. 13. Okay, now we have 13,500. Okay, what's next is, you see, what we just did is we just multiply 6 times 2,250. And we have 13,500. The second step is to divide 135,000 by 100. That means that we will have to cross out this one with this one with this, and we have 135. So 135, that's the raise. Okay, now the raise is 135. That is the increase. Now to get the current or the now salary is we have to add the current salary to it. Okay, so current is 2250. Okay, so 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 2 plus 1 is 3. And bring down the 2. So this is the new salary. That is B. Let's put B here. For number 19, at a restaurant, Levi's total bills is $46. If he wants to tip 15%, how much should he leave as a tip? So we are looking for the part here. We can do the big plus. So let's put the big plus. And we know this is 100 that goes here. The 15% goes here. The 46 is the base. So we're looking for the part. To calculate the part, we need to multiply the 15% times the 46. So let's do the math here. 46 multiplied by 15. That's the first step. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry 3. 5 times 4 is 20. That's 23. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 4 is 4. Add up. So now we have 0. We have 9. We have 6. So that's $690 for now. But remember, we need to divide by 100. So that's step 2. So divide 690 by 100. When you divide by 100, that means you move the point 1, 2. So that's $6.90. That is the tip. So we need to choose D. For number 20, the following advertisement for sporting goods appeared in the newspaper. What percent of the original price is the sale price? Little League package, Magnum bat, tote bag, and youth cleats, only $45.50. Originally selling for $65. So the question is, what percent of the original price is the sale price? Okay, so let's check that out. So we are looking at a big plus here. So step 1, let's look at here. 100% goes here, and we don't know the percent. So we do know the sale price is $45.50. Okay, 45.5, and so to solve for the percent, we need to multiply these two numbers. So 45.5, multiply that by 100. That is the same thing as if we move the point 2 places to the right. So if we move 2 places to the right, we have 4550. That is the first step. Now the second step is to divide that number by 65. So let's do 65 goes into 4550. Now ask ourselves, how many 65s are there in 455? We know that 65 can't go into 45. So we use the whole 65 goes into 455. How many times? The best way to do is I'm thinking about 6 goes into 45. But when I get my answer would be where the rectangle or the square is. Okay, so I would say 7 times. Because 6 times 7 is 42. So I can use 7 for now. Then when I decide it's a 7, I would multiply by 65. Let's do one number at a time. 7 times 5 is 35. Carry 3. 7 times 6 is 42. Plus 3 is 45. Okay. Subtract, I have 0 left. And bring down the last 0. So how many 65s in 0? You should know that it's 0. So the percent that we get here is going to be 70%. And that would be D. Now let's work on number 21. Lydia pays $3 sales tax on a $50 purchase. Which of the following expressions could be used to find the sales tax rate in her state? So expression, meaning that we don't need to find the exact answer. We just want to know what the setup is going to be. So let's look at Lydia pays $3 sales tax on a $50 purchase. So $3 is the part, and the $50 is the base. which of the following expression could be used to find the sales tax rate? So that is looking for the rate. So in that case, we can say, put it in big plus, 100 goes here. Okay, we don't know the rate, but we do know the $3 is the part, and the base is $50. So we don't have to solve for the answer, but we just want to set up the problem. We need to multiply 3 times 100. That's the first step. And the second step is to divide whatever that is by 50. That's all they want us to do. So what is the choice for that? Isn't that looks like option A? Okay, I will choose option A. That's my answer.